So, hey, Flooring Pros, Jerry Levinson here, the Flooring Business Podcast. And this is a podcast where we're going to talk to suppliers, marketing experts, software experts, anyone who I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information that's going to help you reach your goals. So if you're just starting your business, or you're trying to reach 5 million in sales, or you're trying to get ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information that'll help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is sponsored by FloorZap. So for the best flooring business operating system and websites in the industry, give FloorZap a call. Now, this week, I am interviewing Ken Ballin of Sky Floors. You know what's funny about that is I was trying to look at your business, telling my girlfriend, now fiance, about that, and grabbed one of your shirts. And it's like, I didn't know the name of your company, but I know your image, your logo. So it's Sky Floors.
Skyro.
What's that?
It's Skyro Floors.
Skyro Floors.
Yep.
Get that right in here. So welcome, Ken. Glad to have you on.
Thank you very much.
And been a long time coming. So you've been around this industry for quite a while, and probably longer than me, but it's been really fascinating to see just where you've gone. We're going to get into that. How long have you been in the business?
I started my business in 2008, actually with a box store contract. And, I started out just doing laminate flooring by myself, and then got into hardwood, and then learned tile. And I kind of grew with that company, and got to the point where I was, they were the majority of my business. And I had made the mistake of keeping all my eggs in one basket, something that I warn installers about all the time. But that's how I know, because I was guilty of it. And I had, leased some warehouse space so that I could start receiving like carpet pad and stuff for them. And I was using that space as a showroom. So, it was a commercial address, brick and mortar. I had brought in some displays from some of the vendors that I was buying from for my own installs, to kind of at least offset the cost of, having that space. And then they kind of went workroom style, got rid of all the smaller installers. So I decided to, I got all my crews. At my height, I was running about a dozen crews, had about 13 stores for them.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So I, got all the crews that were working for me in with the company that was taking over. And I decided to just go after a higher end clientele and do my own thing from that point on.
That's quite a switch.
Yeah.
How did you get rid of, you had the stores, you had the crews. How did you kind of wash that out, or did you teach those crews how to run their own business in the process?
Well, so those crew, the formula was kind of, back in the day, this retailer was the highest paying retailer in the state, and it was a box store. So like I was actually getting paid more to install per foot than I was charging my own private customers. And this was, before I knew better and, was a little more business savvy. But so the money was great for a long time, and the money was good enough where I could bring on subcontractors to take care of these other installations. And I was still the main contract, for my company, but, they said, can you start installing carpet? So I brought on subcontractors and to take the carpet installs. I brought on a tile crew, I brought on, wood crew and everything like that. They were all technically subcontractors of me, who was a subcontractor of them. Looking back, it was kind of a foolish formula, but it worked for a long time.
But there are others that are doing that.
Not so much anymore. That they've really. It used to be, I had the account with this company, and I was their subcontractor. And there was, let's say, 12 of us that were in each store, and we kind of worked on a rotation. And, let's say you came in and you said, oh, Ken did my living room. I want to have him do my bedrooms. And you could request me and I would kind of jump in the rotation. And anybody could do that. And it worked that way for a long time. And then they switched over to the workroom formula where it was one company handling all their installs and one point of contact and one, warehouse keeping all their carpet padding and stuff like that. And that's when they got rid of all the smaller installation companies.
Okay. So am I right in saying that you love doing the work, though, that the actual installation part of it?
I've always loved doing the work. I've loved, since I was a kid working with my hands. My grandfather and I would be down in the basement doing pine wood derbies and working on the house and stuff like that. Installation and the physical labor is definitely close to my heart.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see this business in this industry. I'm fairly new to it, so seeing all the different pieces of it, the installers who are selling their own retail jobs, and the installers who love their work, and then there's the installers who may complain about it on a daily basis, that it is tough work.
Well, it
especially
is. It can
you're
be
doing
tough
more
work, but
craftsman work. You're doing some really cool stuff.
yeah, but you know what? We all started at the same point. We all started, not doing craftsman work. We started, slapping in those 10 by 10 bedrooms, a laminate flooring, and, making a few $100 for the day. And that was cool. I still get those jobs now and then. A client of mine calls up and wants a living room and laminate flooring, and, love it or hate it, you do what's on the other end of the phone, not necessarily what you're really hunting for, because that might not be the project that's available at that time. But regardless of high end, low end, this, that, or the other, I just working with my hands and doing the actual installation and the prep, and that's kind of that's the zone that I like to fly in.
Yeah. So looking back, what would you, if you can go back in time 10 years and give yourself advice on what to do, what would you tell yourself, your 10 years younger self?
I would have well, I would have definitely warned myself not to keep all my eggs in one basket, which I definitely did. And I would say to get involved in the industry much sooner. Get your certifications, your trainings, and start seeing what else is out there. A lot of installers they don't know the trade organizations that exist. They don't know, this kind of group of people that are within the industry that help each other, and that knowledge is important. It can help your business. And I would just, bring that awareness a lot sooner.
That is fascinating to me. And that's also frustrating to me that even the forums that we have within Facebook, especially the ones I run, I don't see those organizations promoting near enough, and I love seeing when they have their events going on, or they're doing a training, something going on. I love seeing them promote that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny you mention that, because I have I'm very big on industry involvement. I'm very big on, training and certifications, but I have such a sour taste in my mouth right now with trade organizations lately, especially after surfaces. I feel like they're doing a great job of promoting within the industry, but promoting within the industry doesn't do the installer any good. We already know that they're part of the industry. I want to see them promoting outside of the industry to our clients I want to see them saying, you should be using certified installers, and certified installers exist. And, instead of being at surfaces, maybe some of these trade organizations should have been at the builder show, talking to these builders and saying how certified installers are great. But that might be too involved of a conversation to delve into.
Well, and also within each state, they have different organizations that look over contractors. Some states have none. We have a register a contractor, and it's just a cash cow. It doesn't do anything really. It's supposedly
Well,
there.
and you know what? I want to see I want to see the NTCA, CTEF, NWF. I want to see all of that. I want to see a commercial on HGTV promoting certified installers.
Yeah.
That's why I don't need to see you at a trade show. I want to see you on TV promoting to my market that we're out there. That's what brings your members benefits.
Yeah. Well, and you've just had these discussions with those organizations to fall on
All
deaf
the time.
ears,
Yeah,
or
well, I wouldn't say it falls on deaf ears. I mean, there's the problem is with an organization is that it's not me coming to Jerry and saying, hey, Jerry, you should do this. It's me coming to this group of people that all have to agree on something and all have to vote and all have to do this, that, and the other thing. And it's easy for Ken Ballin to say, this is what you should do. It's not so easy to get everybody on the same boat and sail it.
I've never really even heard the idea or concept, but it's brilliant because not only would it help bring other kids, other installers, other people to the industry to become certified, but it would help drive up the prices to the consumer.
Oh, absolutely.
The installation.
Absolutely.
So
There's no, I always say something is always better than nothing. There's a lot of people that sit home and say, that won't work, this won't work, this is garbage, that's crap. And they're real quick to talk down to people who are trying to do something. And regardless of how big or little an impact you're having, something is always better than nothing.
yeah, well, and this is where I would argue too that we don't need to change the industry. We need to focus like on a region, and it needs to grow throughout the country. Because you can't do it across the country. Not at once. It's just it wouldn't be practical from a marketing standpoint to buy advertising and all that on HGTV, say across the country. But let's say you started in a region like, the East Coast, where you can have probably the greatest impact quicker and let that grow like a wildfire out to the West Coast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's gotta start somewhere, and but I think, the very beginning, the very start is, the industry coming together, and, we see a lot of finger pointing, but not a lot of, we're going to do this. And, I really want to see, my personal goal is to show installers what's possible and to show them that they can do it. Whether it's from installing a certain way, installing a certain type of material, or something you do with your business. I know not every installer is good at running a business, and not everyone that's good at running a business is good at installing. I like to think that I have a little bit of both, being that I did go to school, I have my degree in marketing, and I kind of use that, not in the capacity I originally thought I would, but I still use it to a degree in my everyday, running of my business.
So that's an interesting point, because I have that as part of my questions. When it comes to marketing, honestly, your website is nothing to, it's you made it yourself, right?
Yeah, it's just a template site. The only reason I have the website is so that my email address is ken@skyrofloors.com instead of something at Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, AOL. I think I just told everybody how old I was by saying that, but you know what I mean?
Well, and I think marketing is one of the most important, especially when you're growing a company, you're trying to get to 3, 4, 5 million and more. It requires a lot of customers. So marketing is one of the most important things. That's not the business you're running.
No, not at all.
No, you're doing boutique work. You're doing specialty work that's high end, and you get paid well for it, and you're worth every penny. But I even noticed that you only have like 3 Google reviews. So
yeah, you know what?
Hilarious, because I guarantee you every one of your customers would give you a 5-star review, but that's just not.
And you know what? It's funny.
Important.
It's funny because I'm very, it's almost like I live in a bubble here. And, so where I'm sitting, I'm on an island. All of my work is pretty much on this island. I rarely work for locals. I would say 95% of my client base is second and third homeowners. Um, and they're not here in the winter. They're here for, July and August and maybe some weekends, through the fall, but that's it. So I kind of run around unsupervised all in the off season, kind of doing what I want. But like I live across the bay on the mainland and I come over here for work, but it's, 15, 20 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And that's really, that's the zone that I just kind of stick in right here. And I've just worked my way in, and through all of my business comes from social media. It's entirely social media. We have like local, a lot of places have like community Facebook pages and garage sale pages. We kind of have this recommendations page where people come on and they say, hey, I need an electrician, a plumber, a this, that, the other thing. And every time a tile, I have the alert set up. So every time somebody's looking for tile, I get a notification. And I have the same response, the same copy and pasted response that I put on everybody. And I just change the first name. And it's, hi, so-and-so, I'm Ken from Skyro Floors, this, that, and the other, certified, blah, blah, blah. Here's all a link to all my social media. Here's a few pictures of the project that fits in line with this. Give me a call if you want to go over your project. I'm happy to talk. And then I have, a few random clients that will chime in and say, oh, Ken's the best. Oh, Skyro Floors, this, that, and the other thing. And 95% of my business is just being aware of where the market is and, where your inquiries are coming from. I get very little people Googling, doing Google searches. I get very little. I used to have an ad, a print ad in the magazine, in the newspaper that they run on the island here, and I stopped it completely. I pulled all print
Yeah.
advertising. It's entirely social media
Amazing.
based.
Yeah.
No,
So
no, not at
how
all.
long would it take though to hire you? If I put out a request and I'm looking for somebody and I respond to you, say, yeah, I'm interested in having you come out and do my project. How long is it going to take for you to get to me?
It depends. So it depends on the size of your project, and smaller things. Sometimes I can sneak in, like this project that I'm on right now. It's a bathroom that I need to have done by April, which is plenty of time to get this done. There's no rush. So if you came to me and said, hey, Ken, I've got 3 bedrooms in laminate or hardwood I need done, I could probably step away from this at some point in the next few weeks and go and knock that out. Typically, if somebody is calling me, I say, right now, if you called me today, I would tell you, oh, I'm working on my summer schedule right now.
Okay.
And I would say, and I never give a date to anybody. I never say, oh, we're going to start this July 15th. That no, I will, as you come up in my list and my, list of my to-do list, I'll give you a heads up of, I'll say a month before, I'll say, okay, I'm looking at later next month. And then as I get into that month, I'll say, okay, I'm looking in 3 weeks. And then, oh, I'm going to start next week. So I'll follow up periodically, but it's never Tuesday at 8 a.m. I'll be there.
Yeah, most people can't even fathom that because do you get calls from customers going, hey, dude, what's the deal? When are you going to get started?
Not not if they've already committed, because and here's the thing, it's all about communication. I am perfectly clear up front. I don't give dates. I don't do timelines. I don't do deadlines. Around here, the kind of unspoken rule is have it done before Memorial Day. And I'll say, oh, is this something you're hoping to have done before Memorial Day? And sometimes they'll say, no, whenever. I mean, I've had customers waiting 8 months to a year for me to do their bedroom, to do their bathroom, and because they want me to do it. Now,
Yeah.
not everybody cares that Ken Ballen's doing it, so they might find somebody else that can do it sooner, and that's fine too. I have a group of contractors that I'll say, I'm not available until the summer. I said, but my buddy over here, he might be. Let me give you his number, and I'll pass out my buddy's numbers, who I know, do as good a work as I do, and they're a solid referral. So at this point, I've gone from trying to get their business to trying to get their trust, because
Yeah.
I've become a resource as opposed to just an installer. So I give them my buddy's information, and he does a stellar job. Now we both look good.
Perfect. That's awesome. So how do you go about bidding a job, pricing a job out, and where do you stand in comparison to other contractors doing the same work? If there are,
Uh,
do the same
I I like to think I'm easily the highest. When I find out I'm not, I raise my prices again
work.
because I want to go after that upper tax bracket. Like that's my target audience. And as long as I'm busy, I want to stay around a 20 to 30% close rate on my estimates.
Okay,
And if I get
that's
if I
interesting.
get higher than that, and I'm busy, this is all dependent on being busy. If I'm sitting home, then everything, all this goes out the window.
Right.
But as long as I'm keeping busy with stuff to do, I want to be around a 20 to 30% close rate. And if that goes up, I know I need to raise my prices. If that goes way down, then I know I need to lower my prices. But it's always easier to go in high and then come down. Very rarely can you come in and then go higher after you've already committed.
So what considerations do you make when you're pricing things out? Is it square footage, or do you just look at a project and bam, you can come up with a price that includes everything?
So
How do you work?
typically I've gotten away from square foot pricing. It doesn't really give the client a true idea of the cost of something, especially if we're doing a floor. I can't price prep because you've got carpet down. I can't pull that carpet, drop a laser, drop a straight edge and say, oh, you got a dip here. But I can say, this is my labor to install this floor, and it will cost more to level the floor after we've got this all taken out. And that could be anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand based on previous knowledge. If I need to pour a self leveler, then we're probably closer to a few thousand. If I need to patch just a low spot, then a few hundred will probably suffice. But communication is key. You need to be right up front, and there can be no surprises. Surprises are how people lose jobs.
Yeah. So, but that's still a difficult thing to communicate with somebody, that it might be more expensive. I know a lot of us do it. A lot of us have it in our contracts. And when it comes time to charge them extra for additional floor repair, that's a challenge to overcome when they committed to spending X amount of dollars. So have you ever had a challenge with that, as far as, hey, it's going to be $1,500 more, it's going to be.
Not typically, because I overprice everything so much where I know that let's say it would cost me $1,000 to self level this corner of a bedroom, this half of a bedroom, whatever. It's going to cost me $1,000. I can tell by looking at it. And most times if I'm walking around, I can kind of feel it with my feet if it's super bad. It's not anything that I would never give that number to a customer though. I'm going to say, oh, it could be a few $1,000s. And I'm vague. I'm vague enough where it gives me leeway to get an exact figure when I know it, but not so vague that they feel unconfident in my abilities.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, you really hit your niche there, with this too. And you said most of your customers, this is their second and third home, so they're not anxiously
Yeah,
waiting.
they're not counting pennies. They're not, it's not. So you're not going to find this kind of market across the country. But there are spots throughout the country that are very similar to this, and if that's the clientele that you're going after, you can find it. I always hear installers saying, oh, that Ken, your pricing would never work in my area.
Right.
And I always say, you know what, drop me there and I guarantee I'll find that customer willing to pay, because
Right.
they are all over and you're just not willing to find them or go to where they live. They sell Porsches for the same price, MSRP, across the country. They don't change it at different spots just because you live in Louisiana or you live in California.
All right. But to be fair, how long did it take you to realize this, understand this, and go, hey, not only are there people willing to pay that price, but you learned how to go after them. You created that system, that response within the social media.
Well, and every day is a new every day is a new learning experience. Every job's a new learning experience, and you pick things up as you go. And going back to my goal of having installers more aware. Let me just, okay. You know, I want to share that knowledge with installers. None of us benefit when we, you know, hide our secrets. That's not, you know, that's not going to get us anywhere. I want to say, hey, I can do this. Let me show you how to do it. And let me show you how to do it where you live, because that's what's going to benefit you.
Right. Yeah, great. So I've most of the clients I've picked up lately are people that they're frustrated with where they're at. They're finally frustrated enough to not only learn new things, but to do the stuff I'm teaching them. So, and it's getting rid of a lot of that, your beliefs. Did you have stubborn beliefs that held you back?
You know what? I've always, I don't think that I had beliefs that held me back. I think I had maybe a lack of confidence that I wasn't good enough to do this. I didn't know enough to do this. I wasn't good enough to do this. And when I just kind of flushed that out and focused on me and building my brand and doing what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it, you know, that kind of went out the window. So this kind of getting up and am I good enough? Am I this and that and the other thing? You know, it definitely tests us. And you know, if I'm being completely honest, when I took my CTI test, the certified tile installer, I was at a crossroads, and I was really having trouble with like, am I on the right path? Am I doing this? Am I just wasting my time? And you know, getting that taken care of and passing it, and you know, coming into that group of guys that I took it with, and with the relationships that we've built with each other, it just reinforced that yes, I belong. You know, so that kind of, it goes back to industry involvement and training and certification. But you know, once you kind of dive in and make that commitment, um, you know, you realize how you've been holding yourself back and what's possible.
The consumer doesn't understand the benefits of hiring somebody certified. So what would you say are the benefits for you as an installer to get certified? If the consumer doesn't realize and value that, you know, and from what I understand, the certification doesn't teach you, but it just acknowledges your skill level. Is that
Well,
correct?
so there's yes and no. There's a few different certifications. So if you are, let's say, CFI, Certified Floor Covering Installers, CFI does it's a 2-day, it's a training and a certification. So they do the training and then they test you on what they've taught you. CTEF, Ceramic Tile Education Foundation, it's strictly a test. So you go in with your basic skills and it's just a test. There's no training. Now they also offer training in their facility in South Carolina. And the NTCA does like trainings, you know, regionally and stuff like that. But that test, it's strictly a test. So it's different depending on the organization. But in my opinion, certification is a marketing tool. And I would compare it to getting your, you know, your PhD. If you don't use it, it's useless. But you can use it to your advantage and you can use it to build your business. And that's what I chose to do. It's a marketing tool. I mention it to all my clients. My clients seek pride in that, and they brag about, oh, he's certified, he's done this, he's going to this trade show, he's doing this training. He's like, that's their jam. They love that. But
On
it's
top
all in
of
how
that, do
you
you have
sell it
any
to your
kind of
client.
documentation? I think it's on your shirt sleeves, right?
I'm CTI 1392. I'm CFI 13604. Those are my only certifications.
I'm wondering, but
Um,
does the homeowner see like evidence of it, or is it just you telling them that?
I've got two of the logo. I got those two logos printed on the wrap on the back of my truck.
Okay. Is it on
But
your
it's
shirt?
all
I thought I saw one like the black
it.
shirt, I think.
It may have been at one point. I do a new run of t-shirts every once in a while. I've done it with, you know, the CFI and the CTI logo on it. Right now it's just mine. And on the back, it's kind of similar, but it's got like the font of the 90s skateboarding magazine, the Thrasher magazine. It says
Mhm.
Skyro Floors, and it's got, so I like the vintage logos, so I do my own twist on them. But um, it's strictly about the marketing, you know.
When did you come up with the logo, the brand? What was the idea behind that brainchild?
um, so I had originally, when I first started my business, my logo was just a text. It said Skyro Floors, and it had like a bar on the top and a bar on the bottom. Very basic. I think we printed out a bunch of black shirts, white ink, and that was it for a while. I had a black Silverado that I was working out of, excuse me, and I did white vinyl letters on it and the same thing, and that was like my theme. And then I was getting a lot of calls for stuff I wasn't doing. Like I was getting calls for carpet, and I was like, I don't install carpet. So I was like, well, I'm gonna put some planks like coming off the bottom bar. And then that was the next iteration of the logo. It was like wood floor planks coming off the bottom. And then I started getting more into tile. And so I was like, well, maybe I should change it again and do like, some tiles coming off the top. And I said, well, what am I going to do every time I do something new? I'm going to change my logo. Like, this is so funny. And I was talking to somebody, and I just happened to be standing in the bathroom, looking into the mirror or something. And my sunglasses, I always wear my sunglasses on my head, and my sunglasses fell down. And I looked, and I was like, "Huh, light bulb," and it just went off. And I remember like standing in front of the mirror, just kind of tracing it with my finger on the mirror. I was like, "That's it." So I called a friend of mine. I was like, listen, I got this idea. And she was like, can you send me a picture of your sunglasses? So she did it up digitally, and then it was this is what she came up with. And it just kind of went from there. And I put it on my wrap on my truck. I put it everywhere, and it's
Yeah.
just, you know, that's what it is.
It was funny. I didn't come up with my logo. I kept using the words, kept printing it on my shirt. Nothing felt good. And then I watched the movie Top Gun for like the fourth time. And when they pulled that logo up there, I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna steal that logo. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
use that.
Yeah.
Like I like that design. And so that I feel good and confidence, like new business cards, new shirts, new this, new that. Let's
Oh
run with
yeah,
it.
no, definitely. I mean, a few years ago before Surfaces, I did a run of t-shirts, and this was when the new Matrix movie was coming out. So on the back there's this, and then underneath it is all my contact info, but like in Matrix letters trickling down, below the
Okay.
logo. But I like doing like, it's something where I can do a little change. I can do this and put that on it, and it's very versatile depending on what I want to use it for.
I copied the Tommy Mohawk logo that where they're carrying rolls of carpet for the carpet business,
Hmm.
Carpets of Arizona, where we say small family owned business, no one over 5'6". So
I
got
like that.
me in the front, my son in the back, and then when my grandson was born, we got him hanging from it, just
No,
copy that.
that's awesome.
I've got a client using that same logo. It's funny that it's a cartoon logo, and they keep sending me back copies of it without them smiling. I'm like, this is a cartoon. You guys got to smile. Tell them, I want to see some teeth. I want to see your eyes. I want to see you guys smiling.
That's
So
funny.
just that family business feel and theme. Um, so how is it for you? Well, one question I didn't ask you is on do you take a deposit? How do you lock in the client?
Yeah, so I do. So on like a bath remodel, I do half down, half upon completion.
Okay.
If it's something where I'm supplying materials, like if I'm selling them flooring, then all the flooring is due up front, and then half of the labor as a deposit.
Okay, so how often, what percentage of your jobs are you selling the material?
Honestly, I've been doing mostly tile and bathroom remodels. Um, so not a lot of selling the materials. Sometimes I'll sell the tile. But I work really well with a local tile store. So, my clients go in and they get retail pricing. Then if they pay me for the tile, they get 10% off, and I take over, delivery, bring it to the job site, and I have control over it. But flooring, I honestly haven't done much flooring in the past year or so. I don't know, maybe 10% of my jobs are strictly flooring at this point, you know?
Do you ever hire a helper? You have,
No, no, not anymore. I used to, and it just was too much of a headache. I just go at my own pace. I do my own thing. And, if it's something where I get in a jam and I need help, I know enough local installers that I can say, hey, come over, give me a hand. Let me know what your day rate is, what you want. $1,000 for the day, you got it. You want $600 for the day, you got it. Like whatever your day rate is, I'll pay you for the day. And I don't have to babysit them because they're an installer and they own their business. And we might even trade days. So you may say, oh, come over, work for me a day, and I'll come over and give you a day. And that way, we're helping each other out and we don't have to worry about paying each other.
oh, that's brilliant. I like that. That's cool.
When
So
it's just everybody has this idea that we're competition and that guy across the street is stealing my work, and that's just not the case. Everybody's part of the network. You use it to your advantage or you miss out. So there are jobs where I would have missed out on doing them if I had that mentality. Instead, I'm saying, oh, you're not busy on Tuesday because something's going on over here, come over here and help me. And then on Wednesday I'll come over and I'll give you a hand.
yeah, I mean, when you guys comment on certain topics, I just feel like it's completely different businesses. What you do versus a store that has a lot of employees and a lot of moving
Yeah.
parts, and where you're more of a craftsman. You're doing that boutique work. You're doing work for strictly high-end customers. You're booked out 6 months in advance. You it's a completely different business, in my view. And we might be doing
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
same work, but the clientele that we're attracting and the amount of jobs we have to get and what we're doing is just completely different.
Oh yeah. You know what? I went through a phase where I was, oh, Monday to Wednesday, I'm going to be at Mrs. Jones' house. And then by Thursday and Friday, I can knock out this job. And, I just remember getting so anxious and, oh, now I'm going to have to work until 9 o'clock tonight to finish this so I can be at this job tomorrow. And I've just gone in the completely opposite direction. What happens, happens. If I need another day here, whatever, like I'm just not going to put myself under that stress anymore. I started my business to work when I want, for who I want, for how much I want. I'm not going to let the schedule suddenly be in charge of me. I
Yeah.
want to be able to go coach my girls' soccer team. I want to be able to, okay, perfect example. I took this past weekend, Friday and Saturday, and the weekend before, Friday night, Saturday, and I took it off to work on the girls are in the school play and they needed help building the sets. So I went and I helped out build the sets, and I'm the boss and I can do whatever I want. So I took the time to do that. It has no bearing on my financial status. It has no bearing on my schedule because I don't have one.
Mm.
And I have that freedom to just do as I please. And you know what? I might work a Saturday. I might work a Sunday. I might work every Sunday in November. But you know what? I can take off every Tuesday and Wednesday in November because I'm the boss. And if I want to take off Tuesday and Wednesday instead and work the weekends, or you know what, I can take off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Sunday. I want that freedom to do what I want. The opposite side of that is obviously if you don't work, you don't make any money, but you find the balance and you don't let your schedule dictate your life.
What's the latest that you tend to work?
Oh, I have a rule, nothing new after 2. So after 2 o'clock,
I
we're
like that.
just,
Nothing new after 2.
nothing new after 2. You're just filling in, you're cleaning up, if it gets around 3:34 and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling it today, I'll go home. But now, like, so if I'm in the middle of a bucket of thin set though, like I might go till 8 p.m., 9 p.m. just not to waste that material. Um, it's entirely dependent on what I've got going on. If something else is planned for that evening, I'll cut it even earlier. And you just have to, that peace of mind. It's such a different way of thinking then. Got to get this done, got to get this done. But you know, my stress level has just plummeted. Like it's non-existent. I don't focus on that anymore at all.
Yeah, a lot of us do deal with a lot of stresses, a lot of fears, be it financial, employees. There's a lot of things. What are some of the things? When was the last time that you had that kind of moment of fear or worry or stress, or felt like you
When I had, well, when I had people working for me, that was always, you know, oh, I got to keep these guys busy. I got to, you know, and you know, there I wasn't always in the spot where I am now, but you know, I remember, actually I remember a few years back where I was working my way to like the market and the status, and you know, I was starting the journey, but I wasn't there yet. And it was right at, I think it was Surfaces maybe 2018, 19, and I was in a competition, the installation competition. And I remember getting I was I was on the fence as to whether I was going to go or not, because you know, things weren't working out financially at the time. And you know, we were like, how are we going to pay the mortgage this month? And it was like that. And I was owed a check from this builder, that I, like a big check. And you know, I remember this check in particular um was what started my, you know, kind of commitment to the higher end, to the, you know, bigger checks. The, you know, before this it was a little shaky. And you know, it was a dangerous experiment. I made the commitment to myself, I'm not going to compromise on my price. I'm going to keep my prices high, and I'm going to see what happens. And it was not working. um but you know, this one check, and I was there at the competition, I remember, and I was getting texts from my wife and from the builder, and I dropped the check off, the check bounced, and you know, my wife is dealing with this,
oh
he's
wow.
dealing, and you know, it wasn't, there was no funny business going on. It was just a bad series of events that all aligned. And I'm trying to, you know, focus on the competition and installing, and I'm also trying to answer these text messages going back and forth. And it was just, oh my God. After that, I just remember, like, I I made that commitment, and you know, stuck the path. And you know, we're not making any more compromises. This is it, this is what I'm doing, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. You know, I talk to a lot of people that, you know, be it successful or struggling, and especially the ones that are struggling, they just got to realize that we have all been there. We've all had those moments,
Oh
those
yeah.
scary moments where you couldn't sleep at night, you were worried you weren't going to make payroll, pay the mortgage, and it seems like everybody else is doing good. And that's the funny thing too, is about us. We all have so much better of an image to other
Of
people.
everyone else, yeah, everyone else is doing
Yeah,
no, everyone else is not doing better than you. Trust me.
right. It just seems that way. It seems like, man, everybody's got it together. Everybody's doing great. But, you know, it kind of looks that way on social media a lot of times, especially. But, and then when you go to shows,
Social
you
media
talk
is
to people
funny, you
too.
know, it's funny the things that people pick up on. And you know, I'm very active on social. And you know, I try to post, I'm always, I never say anything negative to anybody. I'll say something constructive, but never negative. I never want to give the, I never want to, you know, give this idea out that I'm better than anybody else. I'm no more talented than anyone else. You know, I install the same way everybody else does. But it's funny to see the things that people pick up on that they think puts you ahead of everyone. And I just have to sit back and laugh and like, oh my gosh, if you only knew, like you.
Right. Well, and the only time I ever got close to being negative is somebody complaining about, you know, customers or this going on, and I see it happen often enough from one person, and I'm like,
Mm,
you know what? Quit your damn whining and
yeah.
learn how to do the marketing or how to do the selling. Because the thing I see in everybody is, for the most part, most people are much better than they realize. And that when
Oh
I'm
yeah.
coaching clients, when I'm coaching people, I'm always finding things, their process, like the guys that do sand and refinish. That's one area that just ticks me off to no end, because the guys are undercharging for this thing that takes a lot of skill.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's not easy to do, and people are charging under $5 a foot. And I
Oh,
start going
it
through the
blows my mind.
process
It
with
blows
them.
my mind.
Yeah, I'll go through the process with them. And it's like, holy shit, man, this is a lot of work. This takes a lot of skill. It took you a long time to learn it. And this is not simple things that you should be charging $3 a foot for, $3.50 a foot for. Well,
Well,
in
and
my
that's kind of
area,
why
that's what
I
we get.
use
So
that's kind of why I use day rates instead of footage, by this charging by the foot. I know I can do this in a day, and I'm going to charge 1,500 for the day. And I know that, doing this self-level pour is going to take me 2 days. So 1,500 times two, there we go. We got 2 days, 1,500 a day. That's my price. You get somebody coming in, well, I'm going to charge $2 a square foot. Well, yeah, so you're already less than me, and you haven't even taken into account the cost of materials. Like, you're just charging this $2 a foot because you heard that dude across the street. That's what he's charging. And that everybody has a different cost of doing business, and you need to know what it costs you to open your eyes in the morning.
yeah,
You wake up and you're already in the hole. You have to know how much you need to make that day to pay your bills, to live the life you want to live. And this idea of, oh, charging this by the foot is just so outdated, and we need to be more aware of our surroundings and our cost of doing business and everything. That it gets frustrating to see the comparisons across the board.
so I look at backsplashes, and it's like $1,500. I don't care the size or the scope of the work. It's just
Mm-hmm.
$1,500 because it's worth it. So some of the projects we look at, and to me, are just flat out worth it. It's not even a matter of negotiating any kind of price or the scope of the work.
No, that's the starting point. So, backsplashes are the perfect example. I don't like doing backsplashes. I don't like them doing them at all. So I want to price them so high that nobody ever hires me to do them.
Right.
So I start my backsplashes at 2,000 for, a regular size splash, for ceramic and porcelain, 3 for stone or glass. And if that doesn't scare you off, then at least I'm making $2,000 for the day of doing, sticking up a subway backsplash. And that's just
Right.
how I look at it.
Right. All right, good. So let me ask you this, your reputation, how has that benefited you, what you've done within the community? Has it been purely for fun, enjoyment? What else are you doing for just your image, your reputation, who you are in the flooring community? Because you're like the poster child too for some of these companies like FCEF. I saw you were
FCF was kind of funny. They came to me and they wanted to take some pictures to use on their marketing, and I said, it's fine. Take the pictures, do what you want. I don't mind. Like, there was no monetary compensation or anything like that. It was just, yeah, you want to come out to a job site and take some pictures. So in my head, they asked, they said, could we come out to a job site and take some pictures of you? So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'll be working. They're going to take some pictures and skedaddle, and I'll be they're not going to distract me too long. So this guy shows up and he's got this full setup, like he's setting up a studio in my client's garage. And I'm like, this is out of hand. Oh my God. Like, I hope the cameras aren't on. I hope that, like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And they had me, sit on the bar stool and hold this tool and smile and hold this tool and give them an angry face and then hold this other tool. And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever put myself through. But it is for a good cause, and they use the pictures for their marketing, and I do believe in their message and what they're trying to do. So it was all good, but yeah, it was definitely interesting. definitely an interesting experience.
Well, it's cool. I mean, you gave out the shirts. I bought a bunch of shirts to Surfaces, didn't end up giving any of them out, but you know, but I love seeing what guys like you are doing, just with that personality and image, and you don't benefit anything from handing out shirts to anybody. It's just,
No, that's what, yeah, you give out shirts and like, they're not calling me to work. Like that's not but you know, it's not, building my brand goes beyond um building a business. And you know, it's, your brand is who you are. It's what you stand for. It's what you want to see. And you know, it's, I always tell my girls, I said, you know, be aware of your surroundings. It's important to be aware of your surroundings, to know what's going on around you, and to be able to react accordingly. You get back what you put out into the universe. So, you know, I want to make sure that I exude positivity, because that's what it's all about. I don't care that this guy got this project and made so much more money than me. I don't care that this person over here is, you know, doing this and that's better than me. Like, I just want to focus on me and what I can contribute. And it's hard sometimes, because you get people that want to be overly critical, but they don't know your story. And I just think we have so much potential within the industry to help each other, and we need to really focus on doing that more. So if I can use my brand and, you know, people who know me to that, you know, to my advantage to push that agenda, then, you know, that's okay by me.
yeah. So what's the future like for Ken Ballin? What, how is, do you continue down the road you're going as far as being an installation, or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
any,
get people asking me all the time about, oh, are you going to be a rep? You're going to be, and I was like, no, I'm not ready to put my trowels down. I want to get pickier with my projects, and you know, I want to jump into that next tax bracket. You know, go find that next upper echelon of clients, and you know, really put out some crazy, you know, works of art that I can be proud of. But you know, I also want to make it a point to help installers and young installers and new installers, you know, again, show them what's possible, show them what you can do, and that you can make a good living in the flooring and tile industry. And you
right?
don't have to just be a victim to somebody saying, I'm going to give you this per foot to slap that in. You know, you have, we're the craftsmen. We have the power to say, this is what I'm worth, take it or leave it. And, you know, it's important to be able to know when to say no. And not a lot of installers, unfortunately, know when to do that.
So if an installer does wants that help, how do they go about getting your help?
I am very accessible online. All my social media is my phone number is posted everywhere. I mean, I take messages, you know, all the time, and anybody is always welcome. I don't know that I have the answer, but I probably know where to find it. I have enough contacts in the industry that I can at least steer you in the right direction if I don't have the words to help you out in your situation.
Yeah, I'd love to see you have a coaching program or something someday, and I can tell you the best way to help out these guys is to charge them. It really is something that, you know, when they do pay for it, they make that commitment to learn
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
getting free
it's
advice.
funny, you see the people that ask you for advice and then don't take it. It can be
Yeah,
a little frustrating at times, but
yeah,
you know, there's a
no,
word for those guys. We call them an asshole. They ask for advice and never take it.
right. Well, I get frustrated at people that don't show up, you know, so you want help, you want
Yeah,
advice. And it's like, well, come here, come to my showroom, come give me a call. And, you
yeah.
know, I give a one-on-one phone call to a lot of people for free. And,
Hmm.
you know, we just talk about your business, but then a lot of people don't make it to that call or don't show up, you know, and
Yeah, yeah.
really, did you want that help? So,
You can lead a horse to water, right?
right. So All right, Ken. Well, this has been a great conversation. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Get
man,
to know you
definitely.
better and learning. I think a lot of people would benefit from it too.
I
That
hope so.
is different. There's a different path you could take. You can be the craftsman. You can charge more money. You can have that boutique. I think the work you're doing is fun and fascinating, and I probably would be interested in doing that type of work if I was doing it at your level. But no, I'm not touching installation. I'm just not built.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm going to close her down with a little something here. So, hey guys, thanks for joining the Flooring Business podcast. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one discovery call for your flooring business where we can review where you're at and how you can increase sales and profits by over 30%, go to jerrylevinson.com. And then there's a free assessment tool where you can score your business and see which areas need the most improvement. So everybody have a great, profitable week and an excellent new year. All right, Ken, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.